Jesus was baptized, he was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by Satan. He fasted 40 days and 40 nights, and afterward he was famished. The tempter came and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread." But he answered, "It is written, one does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and placed him on the pinnacle of the temple, saying to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, so that you will not dash your foot against a stone." Jesus said to him, "Again it is written, do not put the Lord your God to the test." Again the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. And he said to him, "All these I will give you, if you will fall down and worship me." Jesus said to him, "Away with you, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve only him." Then the devil left him, and suddenly angels came and waited on him. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
I got to start out this morning with my best temptation joke. I know one of you knows a better one, so make sure you tell it to me. Okay, so the nuns at Catholic school were getting really tired of the children just pocketing apples. They were just going through so many apples in the lunch line. So they put a sign by the apples that said, "Take only one, God is watching." Well, a kid got smart, and at the other end of the lunch line where the tray of cookies was, said, "Take as many," put a sign that said, "Take as many as you like, God's watching the apples." Temptation. We always start Lent with this classic text, or one very like it from Mark or from Luke, about the temptation of Jesus in the wilderness. And I think in a lot of ways it creates the template for our understanding and our experience of Lent, right? Jesus was tempted by Satan, and we have 40 days of Lent, and we often undergo some kind of fast, giving something up for Lent and experience that as temptation, and kind of go through this sort of spiritual wrestling as our understanding of Lent. And I think the way that we think about things often does determine our experience. So I'd like to try it on with you this morning, if you're willing to go there with me, a little bit of a different understanding of Lent. And that's not to toss out our traditional understanding. If you think about a gem that's cut, it has a lot of facets, right? And you can look through one facet and see something, and you can look at a slightly different facet and see something else. So the facet that I'd like to look at this morning is the name that I would put on this journey. It's a journey from temptation, thinking about it through the lens of temptation, to thinking about our Lenten journey through the lens of transformation. And to do that, I think it's probably best to press rewind. Remember the VHS machines and you would press rewind? I actually used one the other day. I was like, oh yeah, you have to rewind. Rewind all the way back to Genesis. All the way back to our origin story, right? The story that the Judeo-Christian community tells itself to understand why there is death and suffering and sin and evil in the world, right? If God created a beautiful world, God called this world good, how did we get so bollocksed up? And that story, of course, is the story of Eve and Adam, and the story of that we classically call the fall. And the classic understanding of that is that they gave in to temptation, right? That they disobeyed, they did what God said not to do, and that's how sin and evil and death and suffering and disease came into this world. So we turn the stone a little bit and look through a slightly different facet. And what jumped out at me when I read this story this year was that this is a classic coming-of-age story, right? I mean, think about anybody that's ever been or raised a teenager. There's a point in time when we have to start thinking for ourselves. We have to start looking at the evidence around us, listening to other voices besides our parental figure, right? And trying things out, making decisions on our own. And that's what Eve and what Adam essentially do. They do what every human being does as they're growing up. And if that weren't enough evidence of this coming of age motif, if you've ever been around young children, they have no sense of shame or self-consciousness about their bodies, right? They just run around naked all the time. Most prefer to be naked, right? And there comes a point in time when they're like, oh, I'm naked, don't look at me. Right? There's like a switch gets turned. And that's a process in our growing up as humans. Right? And it's right there in this origin story of Adam and of Eve. So what can we take from that? Where can we go with that? I started thinking about that, and I started wondering, what is the goal then? Right? What's the end game of this process? If humanity is in fact in a process of growing up, is it that God wants us to return to that state in Eden before the fall, to that sort of infancy of humanity, suckling at the breast of God, totally dependent on God, opening our baby bird beaks and accepting whatever God drops into them? Is that where we're going with this? Maybe. This is a good question. Maybe. Or does God have something else in mind for us? Is there a process of growing up like we experience as human beings, as children, going to adolescence, going to adulthood, that maybe looks like a little bit of a different relationship with God? If you think about the relationship that children have with their parents, it changes over time. And ultimately can get to kind of a reversal of roles, right? I don't know if that's where we're going with God. I don't know. But it gets to a point where there's kind of a sweet companionship and a partnership and a connection, right? And I think about that relationship that Jesus had with God. And remember that back to our temptation story, that story happens just after Jesus' baptism. And we did the baptism at the beginning we kicked off our Epiphany journey with baptism, and we heard the voice of God, "You are my beloved child. With you you I am well pleased. And we remember that we said that God wasn't just saying that about Jesus. That God says that and means that about each and every one of us, right? That's an epiphany. God loves us. And hopefully that epiphany comes to each of us at some moment in our lives. And I believe that it came to Jesus in some way in that moment. Something happened for him in that moment at the river that he had to then go and wrestle with and work out the implications of. And so it says in our collect today, it says in the scriptures, the Spirit was the one that took Jesus out into the wilderness. And I think what happened for him in the wilderness was this epiphany that he had, that this thing that he knew about him and God settled into his flesh and his bones and his soul and his atoms. It settled into him in a way that he could then respond from that place, right? From that truth, from that reality. That relationship with God became his ultimate reality. And it's that relationship with God, that closeness, that oneness, almost like a dance. What is God's will? And I can act out of that. How is God's love for me? And I can respond out of that place. That's the relationship, the one that Jesus has with God, that God's inviting us into, I believe. That's what a grown-up relationship with God looks like. Now, if we look at each of the temptations, Jesus is tempted, as we all are as humans. And I think it's important to think that Jesus was really tempted. These are real. Jesus wasn't just play acting in the desert. You know, that these were, as a human being, these are our real and most basic temptations, right? That we want to do it on our own. We want to forget about God. That's what the apple was about, right? The Garden of Eden. All, right? We want to just say, okay, God, I got this. Don't worry about it. And we want to use all the power at our command, whatever's at our disposal, to manipulate the world around us so that it looks like what we want it to look like, right? So that it meets our needs and our desires. We're going to make that happen. Right? We're going to pull ourselves up by our literal, metaphorical, economic, or spiritual bootstraps. We got this. That's our fundamental temptation as humans. And it just plays out. It plays out where finally the devil's just like, okay, I'm going to give it all to you. If you bow down to me, that's what you want, right? All this power and control and dominion. Jesus walks away from that. And even in the second temptation, it looks like that's a very pious and religious one, but it ultimately is an attempt to manipulate and control God. We even think we're going to pull God's strings and make God do what we want. So on the one hand, in this pre-fall Eden state, we have humanity as infants fully enveloped in God's presence, right? Beautiful. On the other hand, we have human beings who think we can just walk away from God and not have that connection and not have that relationship, right? That's the temptation. And maybe what it is that God wants for us is something in the middle. I've always said if you could just let go and let God, easy. The problem is letting go and letting God, and then still having to figure out what to do. Right? So we're in this relationship, we're in this dance, we're in this journey together with God. And Lent is the time when we get to practice that. So I'm going to offer up this theme for us as our theme for Lent, transformation. Transformation. And it just so happens that the gospel lessons that we'll be reading each Sunday during Lent offer a different person encountering Jesus and their process of transformation. And we'll see through each of those stories, each of those lenses, that it is a process. It's not a one and done. It's a process. And maybe if it's a little bit hard for us to identify with Jesus and think that Jesus is somehow going through transformation and so we can too, maybe it'll be a little easier to relate to these different characters that we'll be encountering. And the beautiful, one of the extra kind of added bonuses that we'll be reading them from the Gospel of John. And the Gospel of John is the gospel of love and relationship with God par excellence. We'll get to Easter season and we'll read that beautiful prayer that Jesus has for his disciples, where it's like, I just think of it as God and us getting all tangled up. And Jesus says, I and them and you and me and they and us, we're all tangled up in the love of God. That's how God wants us to be. That's the relationship that God invites us into. And that's the relationship that God makes possible for us in Jesus. So we're going to walk out of here, we're going to experience it in here, because we're under protocols. We're going to walk out of here into a world that is scary, right? We're coming into it to the time of disaster, but it's not a fire over the mountain that we can kind of keep track of, right? It's an invisible danger. There's also the economy. There's also things I know each of you are going through in your own lives. And what does this process of transformation that we're offered in our Lenten journey have for us? I think it offers us faith. Faith is kind of the ultimate face mask or hand wash, right? Faith is what can hold and protect our spirits. And C.S. Lewis said faith is a habit. It's a habit. We're going to have those other habits pop up for us, the habit, the temptation to fear or to despair or whatever it is that we're most likely to fall into. Each of us is different. But faith can lift us up. And I think faith is also a part of our growing up process as humanity that Jesus shows us in the desert. You know how little kids like to play peekaboo and it's their favorite game for about 5 years? It's because they've figured out and they think it's so funny that when you go away, you come back. As tiny infants, they don't have object permanence. When mommy walks out of the room or out of the line of vision, mommy ceases to exist, and that's a disaster, right? So when they realize that, you're still here, it's behind those hands, it's like the biggest, most joyful realization. And faith is like object permanence with God, right? We don't see God all the time, we don't experience God all the time, but we trust, like Jesus, that God's got this, that God's got us in something bigger than what we can see. That's our faith muscle, that's our faith habit that we practice in Lent. God doesn't promise us in our relationship with God that we won't have difficulty, that we won't have trials and tribulations. What God promises is to always be with us, no matter what. When we were offering the ashes in the bell tower this Wednesday, people came with prayers and their own prayer petitions and requests, and a lot of those petitions were for transformation in our world. We see so much that we want to change, that we want to be a part of changing, that we want God to change, that maybe we don't feel like we can do anything about. But one person brought a prayer that said, I want change out there, and so I'm looking for change in here. I want to pray for my own transformation so that I can be a part of the transformation of this world. That's what our Lenten journey is about, sisters and brothers. This is about our giving ourselves more and more to that dance, getting caught more and more up in that relationship with the love of God. Taking our epiphanies from here into here, into our very selves, so that our response in times of crisis, in times of trouble, can be a faithful one. One that says, yes, and. Yes, and. God is with us. God will never leave us. God will never let us go. I've said these things in the name of our friend and our Savior,